The knock wasn't loud. It came just after the widow had lit her last lamp, just as the sun dipped behind the ridge like it was hiding something. She opened the door slowly. I stood there, quiet. A woman stood on the porch, threadbare coat, a quilted bag clutched tight to her side, hair matted under a faded scarf, skin dry, cracked from wind. "You live alone?" the woman asked. "Who's asking?" The woman glanced past her into the stillness of the house. "I just need a place to sleep, one night. I can take the shed." The widow narrowed her eyes. "She's cold." "I know it's colder." "Name?" "It doesn't matter." "Are you on the run?" "No." "You sure don't look settled." "I ain't." The widow waited. The woman waited longer. "You sew?" the widow finally asked. The woman nodded once. "I stitch what's been forgotten." The wind moved through the porch slats. A quiet like morning. "Take the shed," the widow said. "There's a cot, some old blankets." "I'll keep to myself." "You better." The widow didn't ask more. The woman didn't offer more. She moved slowly, like her bones had been beaten by distance, but her eyes stayed sharp. The widow watched her walk toward the shed, bare boots crunching the dirt. The shed door creaked, then closed. She locked her own door after, sat in her chair, didn't light another lamp. At some point, she dozed. Then I woke up, eyes drawn to the back window. A faint glow. The shed. She didn't move for a long while, just stared at it like it might go out on its own. It didn't. She put on her shawl, stepped out barefoot. The night was dry, windless. She walked across the packed dirt, breath shallow. At the shed, she didn't knock. She opened the door. The woman was sitting cross-legged on the floor, a thread looped through her fingers, a square of fabric spread across her knees. She didn't look up. "You said one night," the widow whispered. "One night," the woman replied. "What are you doing?" "Starting." "Starting what?" The woman looked up now. Her face was calm. "A piece." "You use my light. I use what comes." "What are you stitching?" The woman didn't answer, just kept threading. I pulled the needle slowly. The widow stepped closer. "You got matches?" "No." "That light's yours." "It is." "You lie?" "Not tonight." "What's the cloth?" The woman glanced at it. "Found it in my bag. Been carrying it." The widow squinted at the fabric, torn at the edges, pale center. "You always sew at night." "I sew when silence allows." The widow's jaw clenched, her fingers twitched. "Are you planning to leave in the morning?" "If I'm allowed." "You're not welcome to stay." "I know." "You're not owed a place here." "No one is." They stared at each other. The lamp flickered. Between them, the room was tight, air thick with dust and thread. "I buried my boy last fall," the widow said suddenly. The woman blinked, said nothing. "He was 17, still silent. Fell from the quarry edge. The sheriff said it was clean." The woman kept sewing. "It wasn't clean." "I know," the woman said. "You don't know anything." "I know the kind of silence left after." The widow turned to leave, paused. "You want water?" The woman nodded once. "Thank you." The widow left. She boiled some, brought it back in a tin cup. The woman took it with both hands, drank slowly. "I ain't here to stir anything," she said. "You already have." The widow stepped out, left the door cracked. The glow stayed all night. In the morning, the widow checked the shed. The woman was asleep, head leaned against the wall, thread still looped in her fingers. The fabric rested beside her, partly stitched. The widow picked it up, careful not to wake her. The stitching was odd, crooked, unfamiliar patterns. But in the corner, faint but real, was the first shape of a letter. A C. The widow's boy's name had started with a C. She dropped the fabric, let it fall on the woman's chest. I walked out fast, didn't say a word, didn't know if she'd locked the shed that night. The widow stood in the hallway, hand still on the kettle. The stove was off, house quiet, but the glow was back, faint through the window. She should have been dark. She stepped to the porch, bare feet, no shawl. Cold enough to bite, but not enough to stop her. The shed pulsed warm light, like something breathing behind wood. She crossed the dirt, quiet, didn't knock. I opened the door slowly. The quilter was sitting cross-legged on the floor again. Same spot, same lamp, same fabric. Her needle moved smoothly. "You said one night." "I did." "That was last night. I ain't asking to stay." "You're still here." "I ain't done." "Done what?" The woman looked up. Her eyes were glassy, red at the rims. She held the fabric up like a question. The widow stepped in, shut the door behind her. You sewing names? I am. Whose? The woman looked down. The ones that got left behind. You ask me mine? No. Then why is this one called Caleb? The woman didn't answer. The widow stepped closer. You listen at my door? No. You read something of mine? No. Then how the hell? It was in the cloth. That's not an answer. It's the only one I got. The widow grabbed the fabric. This is yours. It is now. It wasn't. No. You find it in my shed? Yes. You took it. I used it. Without asking? There's names in every thread. That's nonsense. It ain't. The widow stared hard. The name was faint, stitched in small brown letters near the edge. Uneven, but there. You hear his name in town. I ain't been in town. You lie. No. You want something from me? No. Then why stay? I follow fabric. What the hell does that mean? The woman leaned back. Her hands rested in her lap now. Have you ever held something that you remembered too much? The widow didn't answer. This cloth remembers. You just forgot. The widow pointed to the door. You need to go. Where? Anywhere not here. I go. The cloth stays. No, it doesn't. It's yours now. I don't want it. You already carry it. The widow backed away. Opened the door. Cold air rushed in. You sleep. Then go. The woman nodded once. The widow didn't look back as she walked to the house, didn't lock her door, didn't light her lamp. She sat at the kitchen table. The silence pressed in. Later, she stood, moved to the hallway drawer, pulled it open slowly, took out the old blue shirt Caleb used to wear, frayed at the sleeves, dirt in the cuffs. She carried it to the porch, stopped halfway. I looked toward the shed. The light was out. She held the shirt close, didn't move for a long while. The widow opened her door slowly. Morning air sat heavy. No birds, just wind brushing dry leaves against the porch rail. She stepped outside barefoot and froze. The chair, her old rocking chair, it was gone from its corner and sat 20 feet off, right outside the shed. She walked down the steps. The shed door was cracked. She stood beside the chair, reached out, ran her fingers along the armrest. It was warm. She knocked on the shed once, then pushed the door. The quilter sat exactly where she'd been. Legs crossed, back straight, same needle, same lamp, even in daylight. You move my chair? Yes. Why? I felt like someone should be near. You ask? No. You just take? It ain't yours today. That's my chair. It held your boy. The widow's mouth tightened. You have no right to say that. I don't say what ain't already here. You don't know him. I don't need to. The widow looked at the quilt. The stitching had grown, long, uneven rows. Patches of color didn't match, but names were forming. Whose names are those? Whoever you lost. I didn't give you names. You gave silence. That's not the same. It's louder. The widow stepped closer. This one says Ruth. The woman nodded. She was mine. Your daughter? My sister. What happened? Someone married her. That ain't a crime. It was. The widow looked down at the needle. The woman's fingers moved like they'd never stopped. This one's crooked. She couldn't walk straight. Is she limping? She drank well water when she was small, made her twitch. The widow reached out, touched the edge of the quilt. You see everybody you've lost. Number just the ones who speak back. You hear them. Not the way you think. How then? I hold the cloth. I feel who's missing. That's nonsense. I don't argue. The widow sat down in the chair. It creaked under her. She looked at the door but didn't leave. You want coffee? No. You ate? No. You want something? A name. Why? To finish the row. The widow didn't answer. His name was Caleb, she said after a while. I know. You don't. I do. You never met him. No need. The widow stared hard at the quilt. You stitch these for yourself? No. You sell them? No. You keep them? I leave them. Where? Where they belong. The wind outside picked up. The shed door swung wider. People think you're strange, the widow said. They're right. Sheriff comes by. He'll ask questions. I've been asked worse. He doesn't like outsiders. He ain't mine to please. You don't care who sees you? No. That's foolish. I've been called worse. The widow stood. Are you cold here? No. You sure? I so warm. She hesitated. You want stew later? I'll eat what's given. I didn't say I'd bring it. You will. You think I owe you? Number you, just remember. The widow stepped out, letting the door stay open. She looked down at her chair. It still felt warm. She didn't move it back. The dog barked once sharp, then silence. The widow didn't have a dog. She stepped onto the porch, squinting toward the gate. The wind had stalled. Dust settled. A horse waited just beyond the fence. Black. The saddle cracked. The man riding it wore a tan coat with fraying seams, badge pinned crooked on the chest. He didn't dismount, just sat there, chewing something. You always let strangers bed down here? The sheriff called. The widow didn't answer. He spat. Shed's lit. Ain't been lit in years. Is that why you rode up? I ride up when I hear things. He clicked his tongue. The horse shifted. The town's small, word smaller. I didn't ask for town. Don't have to. It comes anyway. She stepped down 2 steps, barefoot, calm. She's quiet. Quiet can be dangerous. She's sewing. Sewing what? Clothes. She's selling it? No. Preaching? No. Carrying leaflets? No. He leaned forward. Is she black? No. Got a limp? No. She's been through here before? Not that I saw. Where's she sleeping? In the shed. You give her that? I did. He nodded slowly. A lot of folks wouldn't. I ain't most folks. That's true. He looked toward the shed. Its door was shut. No light now. No movement. She talks strange. She talks plain. She got any marks on her arms? I ain't looked. You should. The widow stepped off the last stair. You want to come in and check her yourself? He raised his chin. Are you inviting me? I'm not stopping you. I need more than that. I didn't say no. He dismounted. Ground crunched under his boots. He walked past her without another word. She followed slowly. At the shed, he didn't knock. He just opened the door. The quilter sat right where she always did, legs crossed, needle moving, eyes on the cloth. She didn't flinch. You, he said. She looked up. Me. Name? I ain't giving it. Give it now. No. Are you on the run? No. You got warrants? No. Ever been in jail? Not long. What for? Didn't say I'd tell. He stepped inside. I looked around. No bag. Just the lamp, the quilt, her. You got a reason for being here? She pointed at the cloth. This. That ain't an answer. That's all I've got. He stepped closer. I looked down at the quilt. Names. Dozens. Some in black thread. Some red. Some fading. He turned to the widow. You see this? I have. You read it? I don't need to. She sewed your boy's name? Yes. You ask her to? No. You think that's normal? I don't think much of normal anymore. He grunted, turned back to the quilter. What's the point of this? I remember what others won't. Who gave you permission? None did. That's the problem. Number that's freedom. He leaned down. You ever stitch something you shouldn't? I can't decide that. I do. That's your mistake. His jaw clenched. I could have you pulled out of this town by your hair. You could. You think I won't? I think you already did that to someone else. He stood up fast, glared at the widow. She's stirring ghosts. I already had them. Are you defending her? I'm telling you, I ain't afraid. You should be. The quilter's needle didn't stop. The sheriff stepped back, looked her over. Are you carrying weapons? No. Are you carrying faith? No. Then what the hell keeps you moving? Thread. Is that a joke? No. He stepped out of the shed. The widow followed. They stood at the fence now. The wind had started again. Loose grass rolled past their boots. Are you letting her stay tonight? He asked. I am. You gonna feed her? If I have. Food. Are you letting her wash? If she asks. He shook his head. Are you always this soft? I'm not soft. Are you always this reckless? No. Then why now? She ain't taken anything. Not yet. She's given something. Are you sure it's something you want? No. You sure it ain't poison? Nothing worse than what's already here. He stared at her for a long time. You bury him yourself? She didn't answer. You mark the grave. No. Why not? Didn't want it touched. Do you regret it? No. You think he's at peace? I don't think he ever knew what peace was. Sounds like his mother didn't either. She didn't move. You done now? Not yet. He turned toward the horse. You ask her what she's stitching next. She doesn't say. She stitched my cousin's name. I know. He hanged himself last winter. She knows. You think that's her business? It ain't about business. He mounted slowly. You think she's good? No. You think she's evil? No. Then what is she? I don't know. That's worse. He spit again. Adjusted his badge. I see fire in that shed. I'm riding back. She ain't lit one. She better not. He clicked once. The horse turned. Dust rose behind him. The widow stood there long after he disappeared, then turned to the shed, opened the door. The quilter was still sewing. You all right? The widow asked. Yes. You heard all that? I didn't need to. Are you stitching him next? No. Why not? He ain't been lost. You think he's clean? No. You scared of him? No. Then why not add him? He hasn't broken yet. The widow leaned against the doorway. I watched the needle move. You're afraid he'll come back? Yes. You think he'll do something? Yes. What'll he do? Try to make me stop. Will you? No. You want to stay longer? I do. Do you need anything? Salt. Why? For the edges. The widow nodded once. I walked back toward the house. Didn't look at the grave behind the tree. I didn't need to. The floor creaked once. Then silence. She paused in the hallway. Waited. Listened. Nothing but wind pressing through the wall cracks. She slipped on her boots without socks. Tied her shawl tight. Didn't light the lantern. The shed had no glow tonight, but she knew better. She crossed the yard slowly, one step at a time. Gravel didn't crunch. She reached the door, placed her hand on the wood. Hold it there. Inside there was breath. Not loud, not calm. Working breath. She pushed the door open half an inch. The quilter sat inside. Same spot. Leagues. Bent. Head down. Needle flashing. Not slow now. Fast. Controlled. Urgent. A candle flickered low beside her foot. Cloth spilled across her lap like a river. She whispered something under her breath. The widow leaned in. The whisper came again. Caleb. The widow went still. She hadn't said that name aloud since the funeral. Not once. She opened the door wider. The quilter didn't flinch, didn't pause. What did you say? The quilter didn't answer. The needle kept moving. The widow stepped inside. You said his name. I did. You said Caleb. Yes. How do you know it? The quilter nodded toward the cloth. He's here. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. You heard it from someone. No one said it. You read it somewhere. No. You're guessing. I don't guess. The widow walked closer. That name wasn't yours to take. It was given. By who? The cloth. You're sick. I'm remembering. You never met him. I know him. You don't know a thing about my boy. I know the way he folded his sleeves. The widow froze. I know the left arm is always tighter. She stared. I know he had a scar on the back of his wrist. The widow's lips parted, but no sound came. I know he stopped saying yes, sir, when he turned 15. Stop, the widow said. I know he chewed wood when nervous. Stop it. I know the night he walked toward the quarry. He didn't mean to die. The widow reached down, grabbed the cloth, ripped it from her lap. Threads tore, the needle snagged. The quilter didn't move. You don't say those things. They're already here. You don't speak like that in my house. This isn't your house. It's my shed. Not tonight. The widow threw the cloth to the ground. I should have never let you in. You did. I should have locked that door. You left it cracked. The widow stepped back. You say one more thing about him. You'll what? I'll drag you out myself. The quilter stood. Slow. Not afraid. Not threatening. You can try. I buried him. I know. I found him. I know. I washed the blood off the stone. I know. I put his boots in the fire. You kept the laces. The widow's breath caught. You stitched them into your apron, the quilter said. Tied them around the inner hem. How the hell do you know that? I held it when I came in. The widow's legs trembled. I felt the knot. Get out. No. I said out. Not yet. You've done enough. I haven't started. You're cruel. I'm remembering you. I don't want it remembered. Then why feed me? Because I'm not. Heartless. You brought me salt. You asked for it. You brought me bread too. I didn't want you weak. You wanted me strong enough to finish. No. Yes. The widow stared at the cloth on the floor. The name wasn't full. Just S-A-L. You can't finish it. It'll finish itself. You're cursed. Everyone who loves is. You're lying. No. You're a witch. No. You're some kind of ghost. No. Then what are you? I'm a needle. That's nothing. It's enough. The widow sank onto the ground. Her knees hit the boards hard. You don't understand what it took to keep him quiet, she whispered. I do. I never told anyone what he said before he fell. You didn't need to. He said it was an accident. It wasn't. You don't know that. I do. He slipped. No. He ran. He was pushed. By who? You already know. The shed went still. The candle flickered once. I thought it was over, the widow said. It never is. I didn't tell the sheriff. You shouldn't. He suspects. He's afraid. Of what? Of the quilt. The widow looked up. He saw the name? He pretended not to. Will he come back? Yes. When? When the names reach him. The widow stood slow. I'll burn it, she said. No. I'll rip it to shreds. It'll come back. I'll bury it. It'll rise. The widow clenched her fists. I'm warning you, she said. I've already been warned. I'll tell them all you said. They won't hear. I'll drag you out by your hair. You'll sit beside me instead. No. Yes. No. You already are. The widow looked down at her hands. They were shaking. The quilt lay on the floor. She knelt. I picked it up, pressed it to her chest. I can't look at it, she said. Then close your eyes. The widow stepped backward, cloth in arms. She reached the door. Turned. What happens when it's finished? The quilter paused. Then we start again. The widow said nothing. She left the door open and carried the name into the house. The widow sliced the bread too hard. The crust cracked like bone. She set the heel aside, buttered 2 pieces, wrapped one in cloth, left the other on her plate, untouched. She opened the back door, stepped outside without her coat. The air was sharp, but still. The shed stood quiet. No light, no sound. She crossed the yard slowly, didn't knock. Opened the door with the same hand that used to tie her son's laces. The quilter was seated in her usual place, knees tucked, cloth in lap. Needle paused mid-air. You eat? The widow asked. No. Are you hungry? Yes. The widow held out the wrapped bread. The quilter took it without speaking. Are you always quiet when you're hungry? I'm quiet when I'm working. You weren't quiet last night. I remember differently when it's dark. You said his name. I did. The widow sat on the upturned crate near the wall. She didn't look at the cloth. You said Caleb like you knew him. I do. You don't. I do. You never met him. No. You didn't hear that name from me. No. Then how? The quilter looked up. The cloth remembers what you bury. That's not real. It's truer than silence. Are you trying to scare me? No. Are you trying to shame me? No. Then what the hell are you doing? Finishing what you started? I didn't start anything. You fed me. That's not starting something. It is. The widow crossed her arms. You always talk like this. When I have to. Like you're God. I'm a needle. That's not an answer. It's the only one I've got. The widow's jaw locked. You think I did something to him? No. You think I let something happen? Yes. That's not fair. It's not meant to be. He was lost before I ever knew it. He wasn't. He didn't talk. He didn't need to. He was a boy. He was soft. He was drowning. The widow blinked fast. You can't know that. I do. He didn't leave a note. He didn't need to. He smiled that morning. He didn't mean it. He thanked me for the bread. He didn't taste it. The widow stood. You say one more thing. I'll tear that quilt in two. You won't. Don't tell me what I won't do. You don't hate it enough. I hate what it's doing to me. Number, you hate that it's working. I hate that you're in my shed. You left the door open. I hate that you sleep near my land. You brought me salt. I hate that you know his name. So do I. The widow stepped forward. You speak about him again, and I swear— You'll cry. The widow froze. I already did, she whispered. The quilter said nothing. The widow knelt down in front of her. You see him? No. You hear him? No. Then how? I held his shirt. What shirt? The one in your drawer. You had no right. You left it folded. You went through my things. I touched what spoke. You touched what was mine. Number, it was his. You stitched without asking. I remembered without needing to. The widow clenched her jaw. You're cruel. I'm not. You're dangerous. I'm listening. I didn't ask for that. You didn't have to. The widow stared at the quilt beside her. What's this one mean? She asked, pointing at a dark red line. Someone who was blamed. This one. Someone who forgave too fast. This one. Someone who never forgave. The widow touched the brown thread. Is this Caleb? Yes. It's crooked. He wasn't straight. It looks like it's pulling the rest. It is. Why? Because you never let go. I couldn't. I know. The widow reached for the quilt, lifted it. It felt heavier than before. Can I keep it? She asked. No. Why not? It's not done. Then finish it. Only if you tell me the last thing he said. The widow looked at the floor. I can't. You can. I won't. Then neither will I. The silence stretched long. She stood. You want coffee? Yes. Do you want anything in it? No. You want to eat in the house? No. You want to stay another night? Yes. Are you planning on finishing this soon? No. She turned toward the door. Why bread? The quilter asked. What? You always bring bread first. It's what I have. It's what he liked. The widow didn't answer. She stepped into the light. I walked back toward the house. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. But when she opened the drawer and saw the empty space where the shirt had been, she didn't move to fill it. She boiled water, poured the coffee, didn't stir. She stood in the kitchen until it cooled, then took it back outside. Steam still rose from the rim. The shed waited. The quilt did too. And when the door creaked open again, she didn't say anything. She just set the mug beside the unfinished thread and sat on the floor. The smoke came just past dawn, thin at first like mist curling above the ridge, then darker, then thick. The widow stood at her porch rail, eyes fixed on the far line where the governor's barn should have been. She heard the bell ring from town. Once, twice, then chaos. She walked inside, set her coffee down. I didn't drink it. By the time she reached the shed, the quilter was already awake, clothes folded neatly in her lap, no needle moving. You see it? The widow asked. I smelled it. Did you light anything last night? No. You sure? Yes. You stay inside. I don't wander. You didn't go near the barn? No. You know who did? No. Are you sure about that? Yes. The widow stepped inside, closed the door. Folks'll come asking. I know. They'll look for who doesn't belong. They always do. They'll blame women first. They always have. You scared? No. You should be. I've been blamed before. Have you ever burned anything? Yes. What? My name. That ain't the same. It was hotter. The widow rubbed her arms. You think they'll come here? Yes. You think he'll ride first? The sheriff always rides first. You gonna lie? If I have to. Are you any good at it? No. Have you ever lied before? Once. Who to? My son. What did you say? That he could stay. The quilter didn't respond. The wind shifted. Smoke blew down into the yard. The widow sat on the crate. Have you ever met the governor? No. You know what he kept in that barn? Secrets. You guessed it? No. You think this is justice? No. Then what is it? A reminder. The widow narrowed her eyes. You had something to do with it? No. You're sure? Yes. You weren't near? No. You didn't send someone? No. You didn't wish for it? Yes. That's not the same. It's close. The widow stood again. You said you remember what others bury. I do. You ever remember something that didn't want to be found? All the time. You ever wish you could forget? Never. Even when it hurts? Especially then. The sound of hooves echoed from the road. She looked toward the trees. You stay in here, the widow said. I'm not afraid. I am. She stepped outside, leaving the door open. The sheriff rode alone. His coat was ash-stained, hat low. He didn't greet her. He stopped at the porch. Have you seen the smoke? I have. You know what burned? I figured. Governor's barn. I heard. Nothing left but iron. The widow said nothing. Do you know anyone who has been near it? No. You sure? Yes. Did anyone stay with you? Why? I'm asking. Then ask plain. I heard your shed's occupied. It is. Who's in it? A quilter. Does she have a name? No. She got papers? No. She's been in town? No. You vouch for her. I don't know her. Are you letting her stay? Yes. She works for you? No. She pays? No. Then why let her stay? She's quiet. Quiet ain't clean. She's done nothing. Does she carry matches? No. You check? No. Then how do you know? I trust her. That's foolish. That's mine. The sheriff dismounted. Step aside, he said. No. I won't ask twice. Then don't ask at all. He looked past her toward the shed. You think you're doing good? He asked. I'm doing the right thing. You protect someone who doesn't belong. She ain't burned anything. She burned the wrong memory. That barn wasn't sacred. It was his. So were a lot of things. You forget what he gave this town? I remember what he took. He stepped forward. She didn't move. You really want to block me? He asked. I really do. You lie for her again? I'll drag you in too. You'll have to. They stared at each other. He turned, mounted slowly. She ain't safe, he said. Neither are you. He didn't respond. He rode off. The widow walked back to the shed. Open the door. He asked about me, the quilter said. Yes. You lie. Yes. You do it well. No. Did it work? For now. You think he'll come back? Yes. You think I burned it? No. You think I could have? Yes. You scared of me? I don't know. The quilter reached for the cloth, unfolded it, pointed to a black thread running sharp across the edge. That's his name. The governor? Yes. He's dead. His name isn't. The widow sat. You gonna stitch more tonight? If I can. You want supper? Yes. You want to leave after this? No. You want me to lie again? Yes. Then you owe me the truth. About what? Why did you really come? The quilter looked down. To finish a boy's name, she said. And after that? To start a mother's. The widow didn't answer. She left the shed door open. The smoke kept coming. The broom caught on something. Not dust, not splinters. Something flat and stuck. She got down, pulled back the cot, then the old wool rug. The floorboard near the wall was loose. She knew right away it hadn't been nailed since before he died. She wedged her fingers under the edge and lifted. It gave with no fight. Beneath it, one thing. Folded, tied. A thick square of yellowed paper, dry as corn husk. She untied the string. No envelope, no name on the outside, just his handwriting inside. She sat down before she read it. No greeting, no date, just a title. Ledger. Below that, a list. Names, town names, sums, payment notes, words underlined, crossed out, circled. The last name on the list was the governor's, paid in silence. She refolded the paper, tied the string. Her hands stayed still longer than they should have. Then she stood. I walked out, didn't say anything when she opened the shed door. The quilter didn't turn. You knew. Yes. You knew what was under there. Yes. You didn't come inside. No. Then how? I saw it stitched. That's not possible. It was. You saw it in a thread, in placement, in color, in knots. You expect me to believe. That? I don't care if you do. The widow stepped inside. You knew about the ledger? Yes. You knew he kept one? Yes. You knew where? No. You knew what was in it? Yes. You sure? Yes. You read it? No. Then how do you know? Because it's not the first one. The widow stared at her. He wasn't the only man paid to keep still, the quilter said. Are you talking about the barn? Yes. You think it burned for this? I think the match had a reason. You think it was you? No. You think it was me? No. Then who? Someone who was owed the truth. You think this ledger hurts him? He's already buried. You think it hurts me? Only if you keep it. The widow reached into her apron, took the folded paper from the pocket. Hold it up. Have you seen it before? No. Have you seen others like it? Yes. You stitch from memory? I stitch what's remembered. You stitch what's buried. Yes. You stitch my husband's name? No. Why not? He didn't ask. The widow stepped closer. He was a quiet man. I know. He wasn't violent. I know. He never laid a hand on me. I know. He never touched the boy in anger. Number. But he turned away. The widow's hands tightened around the paper. Are you judging him? No. Are you blaming him? No. Then why say it? Because it's the thread that connects everything. What thread? Who knew and didn't act? She stared at the quilt. There's a patch near the bottom, the quilter said. Dark blue. That's the ones who looked away. You stitched him there? Yes. You didn't ask permission. I didn't need it. You always take names without asking? Only when silence names them first. The widow sat down. You know what this means? Yes. You know what happens if it gets out? Yes. You know they'll come for me? They already have. You think the sheriff knows? He's on the list. The widow blinked. You sure? I'm sure. You stitch him too? Not yet. Why not? Because he's still moving. You wait until they're gone? Number I wait until they're done hiding. She unwrapped the string, unfolded the paper again. You want to read it? I already have. You said you hadn't. I haven't read it. I've heard it. You sound insane. I sound finished. The widow shook her head. He kept this under my bed. Yes. For years. Yes. While he died. Yes. While our boy died. Yes. She folded the paper again. Tighter this. Time. He told me once not to ask about the governor, she said. He was protecting you. Number, he was protecting himself. You sound angry. I am. You want revenge? No. Then what? I want it known. Are you ready for that? No. She set the paper down on the crate. Who else is on this list? Old names. Names still alive? Yes. You sure? I stitched some last week. The widow rubbed her hands together. They'll say I kept it. You did. I didn't know. But you do now. I didn't ask him to do this. He never asked you to stop him either. She picked the paper back up. You think I should give it to someone? No. You think I should burn it? No. You think I should keep it? No. Then what? Let it be seen. By who? By whoever carries thread. The wind outside changed. Leaves rustled. You always talk like that. Only when it's true. She walked to the door. Hold the paper in one hand, quilt in the other. She looked back once. You think I'm weak? No. You think I was blind? No. You think I'm too late? No. Then what am I? You're the one left holding it. The widow opened the door. Are you coming into the house? No. You want to? No. You want coffee? Yes. You want me to lie again for you? Yes. You gonna finish the boy's name? Yes. When? After you hang the letter on the wall. She didn't answer. She walked back through the yard, wind biting at her face. She opened the door, set the quilt down, tacked the paper to the inside of the pantry door. I closed it slowly. She sat in the dark. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. It just waited. They walked in silence. The sun was low, not gone. Light fell through the trees in stripes. Dust floated behind their boots. The widow didn't ask where they were going. The quilter didn't say. The path bent behind the shed. Through the narrow gate no one used anymore, the widow looked at the brush, the rocks, the rusted fence. This hill's no good, she said. It's the best kind, the quilter replied. You take every woman here, only the ones still carrying. I left my grief back in the house. It followed you. They climbed in slow steps. Wind pushed at their skirts. A crow passed overhead but didn't caw. The hill leveled near the top. Dry grass spreads wide. Stones half swallowed by soil. Most broken. Some are missing. The widow stopped. "I've been here," she said. "I know." "When he passed." "I know. Only came once." "I remember." She looked down. "You weren't here then." "I was." "Don't lie." "I don't need to." The quilter stepped forward, pointed to a patch of ground, bare except for a small wooden shard. "Who's this?" the widow asked. "Your mother's mother." No one marked her. She was marked in memory. No one came back. She did. To who? To you. The widow looked down at the earth, dry, cracked, covered in weeds. "You stitched her." "Yes." "Before or after I spoke her name?" "You never did." "Then how?" "She called out to you." The widow stepped back. "This one?" she asked, pointing to another square of grass. "Governor's sister. She died young." She wasn't buried right. The widow bent down, ran her fingers along the ground. No stone, no voice. No date, no witness. "Why show me?" "Because you carry the same silence." The wind picked up. "You expect me to weep?" "No." "You expect me to remember all of them?" "No." "Then why bring me here? To see your names not alone." The widow turned sharply. "Are you saying I'm dead?" "No." "Are you saying I belong here?" "Yes." "Now?" "No." "When?" "When your name finishes stitching." She stared hard at the woman. "You always talk in riddles? You're just now hearing them." The widow walked to another patch, stepped over it. "Who's this?" "A boy." "Which one?" "Doesn't matter." "You stitched him." "No." "Why not?" "Some stay in the soil." "Too deep?" "Too hurt." The widow crossed her arms. "You think this place matters?" "Yes." "You think these names do?" "Every name belongs to soil." "You said that before." "It stays true." "They're gone." "Not here." The widow stepped farther into the graves, past a line of leaning stones, half-buried crosses, a rusted child's pinwheel. "I came here once after Caleb passed," she said. "I remember. I didn't bring flowers." "No." "I didn't bring prayers." "No." "I sat down and asked nothing. That was enough. I haven't been back. Until now." She looked down. The grass near her feet bent with the wind. "Have you ever buried anyone?" "Only myself." "You died before?" "Too many times." "Have you ever been found?" "Sometimes." "Do you ever get stitches?" "No one wants my name." The widow walked to the far edge of the hill, looked out over the land, houses down below, smoke in the distance. The governor's barn was still gone. "You think they'll come for you?" she asked. "They already have." "You think they'll dig this place up?" "They'd rather it stayed quiet." "You think they'll blame me?" "Yes." "You think I'll survive it?" "I don't know." "You think I should stay?" "That's not for me." "You gonna run?" "No." "Have you ever run before?" "Yes." "From what?" "My child's grave." The widow didn't speak. "You buried her?" "No." "You marked her?" "No." "You stitched her?" "Yes." "Where?" "My chest." She didn't say more. The wind whistled now. The sun kissed the ridge. The widow knelt, pressed her palm flat to the dirt. Cold. "Yes. Always. Yes." She closed her eyes. "I left things unsaid," she whispered. "So did they." "I thought I had time." "They waited anyway." "You think Caleb's name is here?" "Yes." "Even if I didn't bury him here?" "Yes." "Even if I never said his name aloud until you came?" "He already said yours." She opened her eyes. "You think he forgives me?" "That's not his to give." "You think I failed him?" "You were his mother." "That doesn't answer the question." "It's the only one that matters." She stood again. "I feel sick." "You should." "I feel tired." "You are." "I feel old." "You've carried too much." The widow walked down a few paces, looked over her shoulder. "How many graves?" "More than stitched." "You gonna sew them all?" "No." "Why not?" "Some names stay between dirt and sky." "You decide who gets remembered." "No." "They choose you." "They come to cloth." The widow turned back toward the woman. "You think I belong in your quilt. You're already there. You think I've earned it. No one earns grief." The wind dropped. The stillness returned. "I want to go home," the widow said. We are home. Number the house. I understand. Will you follow me? When you're ready. Will you stay here? For now. Will you leave when I ask? I always have. She stepped off the hill. The earth felt heavier now. The path back is sharper. She didn't look back, but she felt the graves breathe behind her. The door slammed open so hard the hinges bent. The quilter didn't flinch. The sheriff stepped inside with mud on his boots and fire in his mouth. You, he said. The quilter didn't rise. You cursed this town. No. You stirred what was buried. It was already shifting. You think you're clever? No. You think thread makes you untouchable? No. You think silence is yours to break. It was never mine. The widow ran up behind him. What's this? She's got blood in her hands. She's got thread in them. I saw the governor's name. I saw it too. You think that's proof? I think it's a memory. You think memory's not dangerous? Not as dangerous as denial. He pointed down at the quilt. She sewed names into that. Cloth without asking. She's not the first woman forced to work without permission. He turned to the quilter. You want to tell me what this is? It's a ledger. You're not the one meant to keep one. I never asked to. You think this is justice? No. You think this is yours to write. I don't write. I stitch. I should drag you out of here. You already came in uninvited. He reached down, grabbed the edge of the quilt, yanked it upward. Threads snapped. Edges tore. The widow shouted, "Stop it!" He held it up. Names shimmered faintly in the sunlight, some in red, some in brown, some half-faded. He shook the cloth. These names mean nothing. They meant everything to someone. He threw the quilt at her feet. She didn't bend to pick it up. You think this makes you holy? He asked. No. You think this makes you forgiven? I didn't ask to be. You think these names scare me? No. Then what's the point? To remind you, they're still here. He took a step closer. What gives you the right? I carry what others won't. He looked at the widow. You still defend her. She's done nothing wrong. She stirred up every quiet thing this county buried. So did you. He pointed to the widow. You harboring her makes you a threat. She made me remember my son's name. You never forgot it. I never said that. He grabbed the edge of the quilt again. The quilter grabbed it too. Let go, he said. No. Let go. No. I'll burn this whole thing. It'll still be stitched in ash. He pulled hard. She didn't release. The widow moved between them. Stop it. She's poisoning the ground. She's naming it. She's spreading lies. She's sowing the truth. You want this town to tear? It's already torn. He shoved the quilt into the widow's chest. Then you carry it. I will. He looked her over. You think that makes you strong. I know it makes me honest. Do you think these names change anything? They already did. He walked to the wall. I looked at the pile of folded cloth, picked up another. Whose is this? The quilter said, Yours. He stared at it, didn't touch it. You stitched me. Not yet. Then what's this? What's coming? He dropped it. You think I'll let you stay? You already have. You think I won't act? You already did. He glared at her. Then I looked at the widow. You think this ends in a thread? No. You think there's redemption here? No. Do you think anyone cares? They will. He stepped toward the door. You light a fire again, he said. I'll bury you myself. I don't light them. I remember them. He left. The shed was still. The widow sat on the crate. The quilter folded the torn edge. Why didn't you fight him? I did. You let him touch the quilt. It'll heal. He ripped names from it. They'll return. You knew he'd come. Yes. You knew he'd accuse. Yes. You wanted it? No. Then why stay? Because someone has to. The widow looked down at the ripped fabric. I hate him, she said. I know. I hate this town. I know. I hate what I let happen. So do they. I hate you sometimes. I understand. I hate that I don't want you to leave. That's not hate. She pressed her hand to the cloth. I felt my son's voice in this. He was always speaking. I never heard of him. You were never still enough. She leaned forward. Why red thread? It's for names taken too early. Why brown? Names covered in shame. Why no green? No one's ever healed. The widow touched a stitched letter. You'll fix this tear. Yes. You'll keep adding. Yes. You'll stitch him. The sheriff? Yes. When he stops hiding. The widow sat quiet. You scared of him? No. You think he'll come back? Yes. You think he'll kill you? Maybe. Are you afraid to die? No. You want to? No. She stood. I'll bring supper later. Thank you. You want bread again? Yes. You want me to stay? I do. You want help? Yes. The widow reached down, picked up the fallen corner. I folded it once, held it to her chest, and walked back to the house. The shed stayed quiet. The quilt waited, and names began to thread again. The quilt was folded on the crate, edges frayed, threads loose. The shed smelled of fabric and ash. The candle had burned down to a stub. The widow stood in the doorway. Her arms were crossed. Her eyes didn't blink. Tell me why you came here, she said. The quilter didn't look up. You know why. I want to hear it. To remember. Not to fix. No. Not to redeem. No. Not to forgive. I stitch so you can remember, not forgive. The widow stepped inside. You always speak in circles. I speak straight. The circles are in the cloth. Why this place? It was waiting. Why me? You were silent. Plenty of people are silent. Not like you. The widow pointed at the quilt. That one's mine. Yes. My son's in it. Yes. My husband. Yes. And the sheriff. Soon. You stitch the governor? He burned too fast. You stitch yourself? I'm always in the margins. The widow walked over to the crate. She unfolded the quilt. Her fingers touched the square with Caleb's name. The red thread was only half done. You didn't finish it. No. Why not? I was waiting. For what? For you to hold the needle. The widow stared at her. I don't sew. You did once. I haven't in years. Your hands still remember. The widow sat down. Her knees cracked. Her fingers hovered over the cloth. What happens if I finish it? You carry it. Forever? As long as you need. She picked up the needle, held it awkwardly. Thread? The quilter passed her a small piece of red. Why red? It marks the loss. Why not black? Black forgets. Red remembers. The widow threaded the needle. Her hands trembled. Do I go left to right? Whichever way the pain flows. I don't know where to start. You already did. The needle touched the cloth. She pushed it through, pulled it back. The thread curved across the last two letters. She breathed shallowly. Her jaw was tight. I used to mend his shirts, she said. I know. He'd come in with holes at the elbows. He worked too hard. I never asked where. He wouldn't have told you. She stitched another line. I made him a quilt once. I've seen it. He bled on it when he fell. You washed it. I burned it. The quilter nodded. Some names come back in ash. The widow stitched slower now. Her fingers remembered what her heart couldn't. He said my name the night before he died. I know. He never said it like that before. Like he was holding it. She looked up. Why do I feel like he's in here now? Because he is. In this shed? In the thread. Another stitch. I want him back. I know. I'd trade the whole town. He already knows that. She made the last loop. The name was complete. She stared at it. What now? You carry it. For how long? Until you bury it. I already buried him. You didn't bury the grief. She dropped the needle. I can't do this. You just did. I don't want it. You already have it. I can't hold him like this. You already are. The widow pressed her hand to the square. The red thread felt raised. I hate this. I know. I hate you. I know. I hate what this house made me. You didn't make the house. She stood suddenly. You think you're healing people? No. You think you're righteous? No. You think you're holy? No. Then what are you? I'm a needle. You keep saying that. Because that's all I am. She held up the quilt. What do I do with this? Hang it. Where? Where you'll see it? In my house? In your breath? I'm not hanging this in my home. You already did. The widow stared at her. Then I looked down. She folded the quilt. Not fast, not gentle. I'm not afraid of it. No. But I hate it. Good. I hate what it makes me feel. Then it's working. I hate what I lost. You are always going to. I hate that no one else sees it. They will. The widow paced, back and forth. You think the sheriff will come again? Yes. You think he'll try to burn it? Yes. You think he'll try to kill you? Yes. You scared? No. You ready? Yes. For what? For the last name. The widow looked at her. Yours? No. Mine? No. Then who? The town. She stopped pacing. You can't stitch a whole town. I already did. She sat down again. What if it doesn't matter? It does. What if they destroy it? It'll still be stitched. What if they destroy you? Someone else will carry the thread. What if it ends here? Then let it end with the truth. The widow stood again. She held the quilt close. I'm going inside now. I know. I don't want to come back. You will. I don't want to talk again. You will. I don't want to remember. You already did. She walked to the door. Paused. Why me? She asked. Because you still had a name left to say. The widow stepped outside. The night had arrived without asking. She crossed the yard with the quilt in her arms. She didn't go on a trip. She didn't cry. She opened the door to her house and stepped inside. She nailed the quilt to the wall above the stove. She lit a lamp. She sat in the quiet. She stared at the red thread. And finally, she whispered his name. The sky was still pink when the widow stepped onto the porch. She carried the quilt in both hands. It was folded, square, and clean at the corners. The weight was different now. Not heavier, not lighter, just real. She walked across the yard. The grass was wet with dawn. The fence rail waited, low and steady. She hung the quilt slowly. No ceremony, no words. She smoothed the edges with her palms. Make sure the red thread faces outward. The wind didn't touch it. She stepped back. The shed was empty. She'd checked twice. No sign of her, no crumbs, no breath, no needle. Gone. Not packed, not stolen, just gone. She didn't run. She didn't leave tracks. She just finished and left the quilt behind. By mid-morning, the first one came. A boy from town. Couldn't have been more than 10. He stood at the edge of the fence, hands in his pockets, eyes wide. He didn't touch it, didn't ask, just looked. Then he left. An hour later, 2 women rode past on a cart. They slowed without speaking. One of them crossed herself. The other wiped her eye. By noon, the sheriff arrived. He didn't knock. He walked straight to the fence, stared at the quilt, didn't move. The widow watched from the porch. You hang this yourself? He asked. Yes. She's gone. Yes. You know where? No. You help her leave? No. You lie? No. You think she'll come back? No. You know what this does? Yes. It makes people talk. They already are. It makes people angry. They already were. It tells stories that ain't been confirmed. They don't need confirmation. He stepped closer to the quilt. His finger hovered near a name stitched in black. You think this means something? Yes. Do you think it changes anything? Yes. You think memory is justice? Yes. He lowered his hand. You stitched my name yet? No. Are you planning to? Don't need to. Why not? You already see it. He looked at her. You think you're clever? No. You think this is brave? No. Then what is it? True. He stepped away from the rail. You won't take it down? No. Even if I ask? You just did. He said nothing more. He left slower than usual. By sundown, a line had formed. Men, women, one by one. Quiet. Some brought chairs. Some stood in dirt. Some cried. Some didn't. No one touched it. The widow sat on the porch. Didn't speak. Didn't wave. Just sat, watching. A mother brought her daughter, pointed at a square stitched in green. The girl whispered something. The mother nodded. An older man brought a stool. I sat there for an hour. Didn't blink. 2 boys snuck up after dark. I tried to read the lower corners. One of them stopped and turned away. The other kept reading. By the second day, the newspaper editor came, took notes, didn't ask permission. By the third, the preacher came. He didn't stay long, didn't speak a word, just stood and walked away. On the 4th morning, the widow came out with a hammer and a nail. She hung a small wooden sign above the quilt. The sign read one word: names. She sat back down. By that evening, someone brought flowers. By the next, someone left bread. Then letters. Then names. Folded scraps of paper tucked in the cracks of the rail. Names the quilt hadn't stitched yet. By the end of the week, the fence sagged under the weight of silence. She never moved it. She never answered questions. She just sat and watched. The quilt stayed bright. The red thread didn't fade. The names didn't run. She dreamed once that the quilter returned. In the dream, she didn't speak. She just touched the final square and nodded, then vanished again. When she woke, the sun was already up. She went to the rail, ran her fingers along every square, said every name she recognized, and then one she hadn't said in years. Caleb. The thread held. She breathed in. Hold it. Let it go. And, for the first time in a long while, it didn't hurt to exhale. It just felt full.